She said, I've heard a lot about you. And I've seen a lot about you, and I think it's time that I say goodnight.
Welcome to MsMojo. And today we're counting down our picks for star couples in May-December romances. We'll be considering how well-known the celebs are and how big the age gap is. We won't be taking into account couples where one or both people have passed away.
I've never had love like that before. No one has ever loved me and done things for me.
Number 30, Courtney Cox and Johnny McDade, 12 years. How many couples can say they were introduced by Ed Sheeran while partying with Taylor Swift?
Well, kind of. On Sundays I have people over, and we have a mutual friend who introduced us, brought Taylor over and Johnny and Gary, and that's how we met.
Cox started dating singer Johnny McDade shortly after her divorce from David Arquette was finalized in 2013. Just 6 months later, the two got engaged, but they broke it off about a year after that.
We went to this therapist to talk about our boundaries, what we could and couldn't accept about each other. There's that acceptance. Instead, he just broke up within the first minute. And I was like, what? And we were engaged, and I was so shocked.
However, by spring of 2016, the actor and rock star were back together again. Although Cox lives in the US and McDade lives in London, they managed to make the long-distance relationship work with frequent visits and plenty of Zoom dates.
Distance, after that breakup, we were apart for 6 months. That really showed us a lot, and it's just better. I mean, it's expensive. I mean, that's an expensive relationship. Yeah, to go back Thursday, we go back and forth a lot.
Number 29, Ewan McGregor and Mary Elizabeth Winstead, 14 years. These two actors were both married to other people when they met on the set of the TV show Fargo. McGregor played a parole officer and Winstead played the parolee he's dating.
Technically, we're not supposed to be, dating. And I'm saying it's mission critical to keep that a secret. So when it comes to signing official forms, talk about showing your cards.
Their fictional relationship must have led to real-life sparks, because the two announced their separation from their respective spouses in May of 2017 and soon began dating each other. They had a son in 2021 and finally tied the knot in 2022. The pair has continued working together over the years, appearing opposite each other in Birds of Prey and once again playing a couple in A Gentleman in Moscow.
Forget about the shoes. No, what about your sheets? Oh, for goodness sake.
Number 28, Tig Notaro and Stephanie Allen, 14 years. Believe it or not, when Notaro and Allen met on the set of In a World, Allen had never dated women before and identified as straight. But she couldn't deny her connection with Notaro.
You should cut your hair.
Stop trying to woo me by being mean. Doesn't work.
You want to get a drink later?
Okay.
The two bonded over their shared sense of humor and began texting each other for hours at a time. By late 2015, they were married and had twin sons the following year. It turns out that marriage and parenthood are ripe sources of comedy for Notaro's stand-up routine. Like many other couples on this list, the two have continued working together, with Allen directing Notaro's latest special.
It's starting to feel like life is kind of normal again because we're getting sleep and we're going out and socializing. We went to a movie premiere, got home at 11. It was a big night.
Number 27, Chris Evans and Alba Batista, 16 years. This pair managed to keep their relationship a secret for over a year before going public in November 2022. They got married in an extremely private ceremony in September 2023 in the midst of Evans' year-long hiatus from acting.
That's kind of why I had to jump at it. Last year I had an opportunity there were two opportunities.
We can understand why they'd want to stay out of the public eye. Plenty of internet commentators have been critical of Evans for dating a much younger woman. But it's not hard to figure out what Captain America sees in Batista. The multilingual Portuguese actress is a devoted humanitarian and clearly has a fantastic sense of humor. Number 26, Kevin Kline and Phoebe Cates, 16 years. Many people might be surprised to learn that these two are a couple, since Cates has mostly stayed out of the public eye since the early 90s. But they've actually been married since 1989.
No, if you'd been in here, I would have known about it. People would have talked about it. Like, hey, Joy, you see what was in here the other night? My God, what a beauty.
Cates and Kline met in 1983 when Cates was auditioning for The Big Chill. They began dating 2 years later, and the rest is history. The two appeared in a couple of films together before Cates stepped away from the spotlight to raise their family. However, in 2001, the pair teamed up on screen again, along with their kids, for the small dramedy The Anniversary Party. After almost 40 years together, their love has proven it will stand the test of time.
No, someone like you doesn't come around that often. It's like a national holiday. You know what I mean? You don't forget it.
Number 25, Jerry Seinfeld and Jessica Seinfeld, 17 years.
Or is it Jerry and Jessica Seinfeld? Which do you?
Depends if it's a hospital wing or...
Either way, I guess you get in trouble.
Although their relationship began with a bit of a scandal, the Seinfelds have managed to make things work for more than a quarter century. When they met in 1998, Jerry was fresh out of another relationship with a much younger woman, whom he'd started dating when she was just 18. Jessica, on the other hand, had just gotten married and recently returned from her honeymoon. The two began dating, and Jessica divorced her husband 2 months later.
I don't know what that is, but I just know this is someone I want to spend my life with.
Wow. Okay, and I've heard...
Despite the scrutiny from the media, the couple has proven that nothing can stand in the way of two people who are truly in love. Number 24, Bradley Cooper and Gigi Hadid, 20 years. Hadid must have a thing for older actors who have a thing for younger women. Shortly after her romance with Leonardo DiCaprio, the supermodel was spotted spending time with another man 20 years her senior.
Do you really want to know?
This is gonna be scary.
Let's see.
Okay.
Okay, Google. Read me my last text.
She and Cooper were first seen together in October 2023, and apparently have been going strong ever since. Friends say that despite the 2-decade age difference, the pair have a lot in common. Both are parents of young daughters from previous relationships, and the two reportedly have a similar sense of humor. If the relationship turns out to have staying power, can you imagine how gorgeous Cooper and Hadid's kids would be?
I actually petitioned myself to see if I could, usually there's a cutoff. I wanted to make it 2 years.
A 2-year rating.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping.
Number 23, Ice-T and Coco Austin, 21 years. This celeb couple really does make us believe in love. When they met on the set of a music video, Coco fell for Ice's charm right away.
And I go, oh, well, he's nice.
And he goes, said, well, baby, you take the N off nice, you get ice.
It works.
And then it worked. And we ended up here.
Now, more than 20 years later, they truly look like they're still smitten with each other. Coco and Ice have been through a lot over the last 2 decades. Ups and downs in their careers, producing and starring in a reality TV show about their lives, and of course, raising a daughter together. Yet through it all, it's obvious to everyone that Ice still loves Coco.
Everything gets low.
Yeah, talk about
We're gonna start getting, as soon as I start talking like this, she knows to start turning off things.
Right.
And getting everything correct.
Right.
It's about to get real serious.
See, that's my turn on. I like
there.
his voice.
Number 22, Leonardo DiCaprio and Vittoria Ceretti, 24 years. We don't know yet whether this love will have staying power or whether Leo's eyes will start wandering when Ceretti gets a bit older. That said, she's already over 25, the age at which DiCaprio tends to move on from his girlfriends.
Once upon a time in Hollywood, nearly 3 hours long, Leonardo DiCaprio attended the premiere, and by the end, his date was too old for him.
She might not have been born when Titanic was released, but the two seem to find plenty of things to talk about when they're spotted together in public. The Italian model is already a world traveler with a very successful career. We hope Leo's not just relying on his fame to keep Ceretti interested.
Who chose this photo, all right? I have a double chin, all right? Nobody notices that crap?
Number 21, Jeff Goldblum and Emily Livingston, 30 years. You might be worried that a 70-year-old man who marries a contortionist 30 years younger than him has bitten off more than he can chew. But to be fair, he's not just any 70-year-old man. He's Jeff Goldblum. He and Emily Livingston met at the gym, where we can imagine the Olympic gymnast caught a lot of people's eyes. Goldblum had the courage to shoot his shot, and Livingston fell for him.
She was doing some kind of, you can imagine.
Yeah,
it's
insane workout.
Fantastical, insane.
Yeah.
So I was compelled to go over and just ask what was happening and what was going on.
And that was the beginning?
That was the beginning, yeah.
Now, the pair have been married a decade and have 2 kids together. It's actually really romantic when you think about it.
She's my inspiration. She's my muse and garden elf.
Number 20, Elton John and David Furnish, 15 years.
The door that night, there was something that immediately clicked with him.
If we learn anything from Elton and David's love story, it's that if you're single, you shouldn't hesitate to accept an invitation to a dinner party because you might just meet the love of your life. That's what happened to Furnish when he agreed to be a friends plus one to a dinner party at Elton John's place in London in October of 1993. David and John hit it off immediately, and obviously the 15-year age difference didn't bother either of them, as David returned the next night for a one-on-one meal with the Rocket Man. The couple has basically been together ever since, creating a civil union in 2005 and getting married in 2014, a few months after same-sex marriage was legalized in Great Britain.
You feel like celebrating, you feel like letting your hair down.
Number 19, Hillary Burton and Jeffrey Dean Morgan, 16 years.
Hi, what's up?
Hey, how are you?
In May of 2009, a soon-to-be 27-year-old Hillary Burton and a just-turned 43-year-old Jeffrey Dean Morgan were introduced by their mutual friends Jensen Ackles and Danielle Harris. Danielle was Hillary's former co-star on One Tree Hill, and Jensen had worked with Jeffrey on Supernatural.
What's next? We eat.
Well, as it turns out, sometimes your friends do know what's best for you. And these two didn't waste any time consummating their relationship either, as Morgan hinted on Instagram in May of 2021. Quote, "Been with her ever since that night. In fact, 2 kids later, 1, 11, do that math. They were happy then and they still are now. So a 16-year difference clearly didn't and doesn't matter to them." Number 18, Heidi Klum and Tom Cowlitz, 16 years. As with many of the couples on this list, Klum and Cowlitz hit it off right away. They first met while Klum was in her home country of Germany hosting Germany's Next Top Model.
Okay, so the first one is Waschbrettbauch.
Cowlitz, the guitarist for the German rock band Tokyo Hotel, is, well, also German. And that connection turned out to be just one of many things these lovebirds had in common. As one source told Us Weekly, quote, "They fell into an easy rhythm really quickly. One thing they don't have in common is their age. When Cowlitz was born in September of 1989, Klum had recently turned 16. But as Klum told InStyle, besides when people ask her about the age difference, quote, "I don't really think about it that much otherwise."
I found the love of my life. Better late than never.
Also ich habe nie an das Konzept der einen großen Liebe geglaubt, weil ich eigentlich immer gedacht habe, dass es die große Liebe gar nicht gibt, bis ich sie dann getroffen habe.
Number 17, Patrick Stewart and Sunny Ozell, 37 years. It's true that they have an age gap of well over 3 decades, but since Sir Patrick Stewart hasn't aged since the late 80s, they really shouldn't even qualify for this list. All jokes aside, the pair has a sense of humor about their age difference, and they don't seem fazed by other people's opinions.
May not be a romantic comedy. It might be more of a, a Walking Dead movie, actually. As far as I am concerned, I don't know.
They met while Ozell was waitressing and Stewart was performing in Macbeth, and tied the knot in 2013, with Stewart's longtime friend Ian McKellen officiating. These days, when they're not working, they spend their free time fostering shelter dogs and looking stunning together on red carpets. Talk about relationship goals.
Patrick, would you agree with that?
Wow.
Look at
I
that
know.
smile.
I've seen that happen.
Number 16, David Cross and Amber Tamlin, 19 years. Did you hear the one about the young actress who hung out with the comedian 19 years older than her on a plane and fell in love? While you might think this was a setup to a David Cross comedy sketch, it's actually how he met his beautiful wife, actress and writer Amber Tamlin. Cross has said that despite having seen one another around LA, he was, quote, slow to make any moves because of our age difference.
Blah, 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 blah. Rules 1, 2, and 3 of the pants. Blah, blah, blah. Prayer, and we hold hands.
But you also can't fight true love. And Cross has also said that from the moment they met on that plane, it was, quote, so obvious they would eventually be together. And they did eventually start dating, get married, and have a child together. Which we assume means that Tobias got over that never nude thing.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, I need you to be completely undressed.
Number 15, Dennis Quaid and Laura Savoy, 39 years. Unlike most of the other people on our list, Savoy isn't in the entertainment industry. A mutual friend introduced her to Quaid in 2019 when she was a PhD student, and Quaid says it was love at first sight.
You got down on one knee.
No, I didn't have a chance to get on a knee. She was actually taking a selfie of us, and I put the ring in front.
Really?
Yeah, I said, will you marry me?
Oh my goodness.
And then she she fell down.
They got married just a year later. According to Quaid, the couple barely even noticed the nearly 4-decade age difference. Now, she's a certified public accountant with multiple degrees in finance. Savoy and Quaid might not be able to bond over their jobs, but they do connect over their shared Christian faith, which plays an important role in their relationship.
Yeah, God is in the relationship, for one thing, which I've never had a relationship like that before. And she's super smart, and she's very deep. I mean, we just have fun together. We do.
Number 14, Dick Van Dyke and Arlene Silver, 46 years.
Who was I talking to?
Kate Blanchett.
I was talking to Kate Blanchett.
Yeah.
And she walked by and I said, excuse me.
And blew off Kate Blanchett?
I would not blow off Kate Blanchett for me.
Van Dyke loves to tell the story of how he met his much younger wife. And like Patrick Stewart and Sonny Ozell, Van Dyke and Silver clearly have a sense of humor about the whole age thing. You kind of have to when all 4 of your kids are considerably older than your wife.
This is my beautiful child bride, Arlene Silver Van Dyke.
Despite their age difference, the two seem to have a genuinely sweet and wholesome relationship. They were friends for several years before things got romantic, though it's pretty obvious that Van Dyke was smitten with Silver from the start. He might be old enough to be her grandfather, but they're both young at heart. Number 13, Alec Baldwin and Hilaria Baldwin, 26 years. It sounds like the IMDb summary of a romantic comedy. A soon-to-be 53-year-old man is having dinner with a friend when he sees a beautiful girl. Sure, she's 26 years younger than him, but that doesn't stop him from walking up to her and telling her, "I must know you." He gives her his number, and less than a year and a half later, they're married in New York City. Well, it isn't a movie, but the man in the story is a movie star.
Coffee's for closers only.
The man was Alec Baldwin, and the woman was the soon-to-be Hilaria Baldwin. The couple is still going strong, and have added 6 kids to the mix as well.
Then Leo, I'll let you tell it. Leo virtually smeared the cake all over him like it was in Lord of the Flies.
Like a mud bath. It was really, it was great.
Number 12, Kris Jenner and Corey Gamble, 25 years.
Being around y'all and your mother, I think they just start jumping in day by day.
It's a tale as old as time. You're in Ibiza, you're having a good time at Kanye West's party for fashion designer Riccardo Tisci's 40th birthday, and you happen to notice the momager/mogul of the Jenner Kardashian empire. She's about 25 years your senior, but you get to chatting and a few months later, you're a couple. Come on, who can't relate to that? Okay, so no one except Corey Gamble can. And while many in her family weren't too sure about him and the relationship, Jenner was, and has remained so. Which is all that matters, right?
So if I don't have kids and the love is still strong, and we got the friendship like the current situation I'm in, then I'm cool with that.
Number 11, George Clooney and Amal Clooney, 17 years.
We had to hide for, I don't know, a couple of months because you just want to make sure, you want to get to know each other and get to spend time with each other and not do it, on the front page of Hello Magazine.
George Clooney was one of Hollywood's great bachelors. That was true until July of 2013 in Lake Como, Italy, when he met the brilliant and beautiful Amal Alamuddin. But while there was a pretty immediate attraction on Clooney's end, the Ocean's 11 star was a little unsure about how Amal felt towards him because of the age gap, as he told Howard Stern.
I couldn't tell if she liked me because, I'm 17 years older than her, so she might have thought I was, grandpa.
A geezer,
I don't know.
right.
Obviously she didn't, or she really likes grandpas, because in October, they reportedly had their first date, and in April of 2014, their engagement was confirmed. Well done, Grandpa. Number 10, Sam Taylor Johnson and Aaron Taylor Johnson, 23 years. In 2008, Aaron auditioned for the film Nowhere Boy. The film was Samantha's directorial debut, and when Aaron walked in, she found the leading man in the film and in her life.
I'm John. Paul.
And while a 23-year age gap might seem like a big deal to some, Aaron told The Telegraph UK that, quote, "When I met Sam, I'd already lived a life far beyond that of most of my contemporaries. I didn't relate to anyone my age." Now, while the connection was intense, the actor and director kept things very professional during the making of the movie.
We're blocking it out, we're composing the shot, and then I'm behind the monitor, I'm watching it, and I'm like, oh.
They still had not been on a date or kissed when the film wrapped, but the moment they were done, Aaron told Sam he was going to marry her. Number 9, Jason Statham and Rosie Huntington-Whiteley, 20 years. We'd love to tell you how these two met, but we don't know. Some reports have them meeting at Coachella, while others put it on the set of Transformers: Dark of the Moon.
What is that?
This is your new lucky bunny.
We do know that it was in 2010, and while the 20-year age gap did raise some eyebrows, Rosie has said that they, quote, have a connection that has nothing to do with age. For those curious about wedding bells, Rosie has said that she believes in marriage, but, quote, being in a happy relationship is much more important to me. And while they did get engaged in 2016, they have yet to officially tie the knot. They do have 2 children together.
You know, we definitely talk about it. We're looking forward to that time, but it's also not a huge priority to us. We're so happy.
Number 8, Elliot Spencer and Stephen Fry, 30 years.
My cousin Lord Alfred Douglas is here. He would very much like to congratulate you.
Comedian, actor, and writer Stephen Fry has been a staple of the British comedy scene since the 1980s. And speaking of the 80s, his husband, Elliot Spencer, was born in said decade, 1987 to be exact, which was the same year that Fry turned 30. But even though Stephen had found lots of professional happiness, personal happiness wasn't as evident until he met Elliot in 2012. As you may have expected, there were some shocked onlookers given the age gap between these two. But as you also probably expected, Spencer shot back at the haters, saying, quote, I don't care what people think. Stephen is the love of my life, the light of my life.
I'm now a unit of 2 people rather than a unit of 1.
Number 7, Ben Kingsley and Daniela Lavender, 31 years.
I have no defense, my lord. I'm guilty as charged.
From Gandhi to a sexy beast, Ben Kingsley has played many roles over his long and illustrious professional career.
I'm not going to pull it out. You're just going to have to wait till I've finished it, as simple as that.
And the same is true for his private life, in which he has played the role of husband 4 times, including his marriage to Daniela Lavender, which began in 2007 when he was 63 and she was 32. While the 31-year age difference is a lot, it isn't new to Kingsley, who in the 90s dated Kate Townsend, an actress who was 30 years his junior. They dated, but no, she is not one of his 3 ex-wives. Number 6, Warren Beatty and Annette Bening, 21 years. If you thought George Clooney was one of the great bachelors, let us tell you that his bachelorhood does not hold a candle to one of the all-time most iconic Hollywood bachelors, Warren Beatty. In fact, Carly Simon, who has said that the second verse of her famous song You're So Vain is about Beatty, when talking about having dated the famous actor, followed it up with, quote, hasn't everybody?
You're so vain. You probably think this song is about you.
And that was very true, until he met Annette Bening for lunch to prepare for their co-starring roles in 1991's Bugsy.
The way you were staring at me, I thought you were going to ask me for something a little more exciting.
Like what?
Use your imagination.
And that was it. The 50-something-year-old Beatty had found his perfect someone in the 30-something-year-old Bening. And his bachelor days were over. They were married in 1992. Number 5, Harrison Ford and Callista Flockhart, 22 years. Sure, the odds are really low that someone who's never seen the original Star Wars movies would end up married to the man who played Han Solo in those films, but you know how Han feels about odds.
Never tell me the odds.
Yeah, it's true. Callista Flockhart had not seen the films when they first met, and as she told Jimmy Kimmel, she had no idea what a Millennium Falcon was for quite some time.
You didn't know what the Millennium Falcon was?
I did not know.
You didn't know?
But that and the 22-year age difference were no match for the true love that started to bloom between these two when they first met at the 2002 Golden Globe Awards. According to Callista, she even sometimes forgets how big the age gap between them is, telling Hello Magazine, quote, it doesn't factor into our relationship at all. Number 4, Michael Douglas and Catherine Zeta-Jones, 25 years. Douglas and Zeta-Jones share a love for each other and a birthday. Yep, Michael and Catherine were born on the exact same day, September 25th, just 25 years apart. We don't know if that amazing coincidence has anything to do with it, but the Traffic co-stars have remained one of the strongest couples in Hollywood since meeting all the way back in 1998, after seeing her in The Mask of Zorro.
Charmed.
Douglas, like pretty much everyone else in the world, wanted to meet Zeta-Jones. But unlike the rest of us, what Michael Douglas wants, he often gets, and this was no exception.
I think it's not taking the person closest to you for granted.
They ended up meeting thanks to being introduced by a fellow actor while they were both in Europe for a film festival. They were married in 2000. Number 3, Rod Stewart and Penny Lancaster, 26 years.
I got her phone number, I'd just broken up, and I gave it to the bass player, who said, a couple of days later, I said, can I have Penny's phone number? Give her a call. He said, no, you're not ready yet. And he kept it for 6 months.
Wow. One of Stewart's biggest hits, Maggie May, was based on his experience of losing his virginity to an older woman.
Morning sun, when it's in your face, really shows your age.
And while his first time was with an older woman, he has spent the years since 1999 with a woman 26 years his junior, whom he met when she accepted a dare from her mates to request an autograph from the singer. Penny was in her late 20s at the time and was studying photography. The next night, she found herself invited to a show to take pictures of Rod. Stewart got her phone number, but didn't call her for 6 months, allegedly because it was too soon after the breakup of his last marriage. Penny and Rod eventually tied the knot in 2007.
But anyway, the rest is history.
Number 2, Sarah Paulson and Holland Taylor, 32 years. Paulson and Taylor started dating in 2015, 10 years after they first met. And no, this wasn't one of them playing the long game or trying to get out of the friend zone. This was two people meeting at a party and being attracted to each other.
Hello, everybody decent?
As the Marcia Clark actress told the New York Times, Taylor was, quote, probably the most exquisitely beautiful woman she'd ever seen. But both women were in relationships at the time. So that was that. Cut to 10 years later, they meet again, they're both single, and they start following each other on Twitter. And anyone who thinks that older people don't understand social media should know that it was Taylor, then in her early 70s, who first slid into Paulson's DMs.
Holland Taylor slid into your DMs?
She actually did.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1, David Foster and Katharine McPhee, 35 years.
Them that's got shall get, them that's not shall lose.
McPhee might have been a runner-up on American Idol Season 5, but she is the winner of David Foster's heart. Although it took a while for them to get there. In fact, the two first met during her run on the show when the 22-year-old performed Whitney Houston's I Have Nothing, a song that Foster wrote.
I think Katharine has a great future.
Even though there are over 35 years between them, this meeting led to a great friendship. And Foster even played piano at McPhee's wedding when she married Nick Kokos in 2008. McPhee filed for divorce in 2014, and she and David were spotted getting cozy in public in 2017, right around the time that his fourth divorce was being finalized. McPhee and Foster married in 2019 and had their first child together 2 years later.
Someday I'll wish upon a star and wake up where the clouds are far behind me.
Which couple story do you think is the most romantic? Let us know in the comments.
She'd wanted to see our production of Macbeth in Brooklyn, but it was sold out. Yeah. But we were transferring to Broadway, and so I said, well, there'll be seats there. Here's my number. Give me a call if you want to. Was there an ulterior motive?
Of course.
I will leave it for you to decide.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from MsMojo. And be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.